Hey guys, I'm Ethan Moore from Stockholm Supply here, and really exciting thing today. Oh shoot, sorry mate. We got Mike Davies here, all the way from New Zealand. So while he was here, we thought we'd do something kind of interesting. We've got Jillian, who you may recognize if you've seen her at wood shows and stuff in the past. She is very new to carving, so we thought we would let you guys be a fly on the wall while Mike Davies, a professional carver, teaches Jillian some of the basics when it comes to sharpening. So yeah, I'll let you guys get right into it here and I'll get behind the camera. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so Jillian, what's the bit? So it's really nice that you're interested in learning how to carve, and I know you've been doing a little bit, you've been having a go, but what's the bits that you found difficult?
I am struggling currently with sharpening and just kind of knowing what is actually considered sharp. I don't really know the difference between unsharp and sharp tools while using them.
Well, I think the first thing that we'll do is test some. So this is your toolkit.
Yes.
And this one's mine. And the first thing that we'll do is I'll let you feel what a dull tool feels like, but also illustrate how quickly you can bring it up to a razor sharp finish. I mean, like super quick. Now this is some of your work here.
Yes.
No, that's all right. That's absolutely perfect. But can I just carve on the edge of this piece of timber?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what we're going to discover is what to look for in a dull tool. And the range of tools, they're going to come to you, they're factory sharp. So out of the box, they're not bad, they're okay. But they're factory sharp. We want to get them razor sharp. And the reality is, Jillian, when you're carving, it's the most essential part of carving actually is having a sharp tool. And so even if they were razor sharp out of the packet, you're gonna need to master this skill, and it's not going to be too difficult. But let's just see if we can find a tool that's a little bit dull. Have you sharpened these at all out of the packet?
I used a little felt wheel just for a couple of them, just to try and get them a bit sharper, but nothing major on it.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. I want to find something that's dragging through the timber a little bit. Yeah, there. Can you see those drag marks in the timber? Let me do a bigger cut.
Oh wow, yeah.
So we can push that through the timber, but can you see it's not a polished cut?
Yes.
So with this, let's just go through a process and see if we can get that to be an absolute razor finish, just gliding. So to start off with, the first step is to hone it. And we can put 9 times out of 10, general maintenance is just hone, well, we would say using a strop. You could just use, a leather belt.
Yeah.
And the suede side on a piece of leather, if you turn that upside down and you get some honing compound and you rub that down the leather, you could actually use that to put a polished edge called a strop on your tool. But there's a quicker way to do this, and that's this machine here. So if we scoot along here a little bit. So this is a buffing machine, and what I've done is we fitted it with some felt wheels this one's shaped and this one is flat. Now can you see this gouge here?
Yes.
This tells a very important story, and that is that when we are power honing this tool, it's critically important that the wheel is traveling away from the tool, not towards it.
Gotcha. Because
we actually cut this as an illustration, but it's going to dig in, it's going to cause a really nasty accident. So it's incredibly important that we know that it is traveling away from the tool.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn this on, we're going to put some safety glasses. I'm going to put some honing compound on.
Does it matter how much honing compound you're using?
Oh no, look, I think I can see it's physically on the wheel.
Okay.
And then at the same angle as that ground bevel, I'm just going to find that bevel and just apply a light pressure. Well, not even a light pressure. I can now I can run my finger up the inside. I can't even feel I can't feel a burr. But I might just in case there's a tiny one, just remove, if it's formed a little wire along there.
Okay.
I just took it once pass. I'm just going to remove this bit and let's see if it's fixed our problem.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely better. It feels better. It doesn't look better, but it's not. The bits that is sharp is gliding, but it's definitely, there's still issues in there, and that's not going to fix it. So we need to go to the next step.
Okay.
And the next step would be honing. So there's all sorts of different sharpening stones that you can get, but it doesn't need to be expensive. So you can get, this is a diamond stone. Ethan, you sell these, don't you? This is a...
That's right, that's the trend version here.
All right, so this is a diamond stone. You can get silicon carbide, ceramic, Arkansas, which is a natural stone. They're all stones, but essentially the technique is going to be the same.
Okay.
Now, Ethan, so what's this stuff?
That's a lapping fluid, so pretty well every time you're about to use a stone, just put 2 or 3 drops on there, just a lubricant.
Okay.
It will increase the overall longevity of your diamond stones.
All right, so the key is that the average angle of a carving tool generally is anywhere between 20 to 30 degrees. The keener the angle, the sharper the tool, but it could be susceptible to damage. So depending on what it is that we're working on, so if you're carving oak, for example, and you're using a mallet,
Yeah.
then you'd probably go for a greater angle, like 30 degrees. The edge will be more durable. But if we're carving fine timber or delicate work, we'd go for about 20. And I think most of this range is about, 20. Around about 20. So if you were carving oak, for example, there's my angle, I might increase that angle to put a slightly greater cutting edge. So whilst it's ground at 20, I could put a secondary bevel on
Okay.
at 30, but I want to keep this because we're going to carve some nice fine stuff. Let's try and keep it around the same angle as the ground edge angle.
Okay.
So I'm feeling it there, and now I'm going to slide the tool from side to side. And I'm going to try and be careful not to round over the tips, so I don't want to go too far. I'm just going to keep that the same, at the same angle as the bevel, and I can actually feel that cutting.
Now what I think would be valuable here, if you let Jill give this a go.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
You may have some tips on how she's holding the tool. And
completely. All right, so Jill, we're going to stand nice and straight. Elbow into your side. Lower your knees so that actually your elbow is locked into your side.
Okay.
So you're going to regulate the height. And when you find that angle, then start moving your body.
So you're not moving your arms.
That's it. So you've locked it into the side. This hand turns.
Okay.
This one just supports the tool as you're going side to side, okay?
All right. So elbow locked in. This.
So it's important to make sure that you're definitely making contact with the cutting edge.
So like.
So up, there.
There. Gotcha.
Feel it?
Yeah. Okay.
Now we're going to move side to side and that's it. Yeah.
Now, do you have to put much pressure on it while you're doing it?
A little. But can you feel it cutting?
Yeah.
Now, at this point, the question will be, are we hitting the right angle? To establish that, if you stop there for a little, remove this compound, run your finger down the bevel, and you'll know when you're cutting because you're going to feel a fine burr on the inside. See if you can feel a burr.
I do not feel a burr.
No. So we've got to do a little bit more
Okay.
and maybe increase your angle.
Okay.
So elbow locked in.
Yep.
Yep, moving side to side
Ooh.
and rotating with this hand.
With this hand instead, okay.
Okay. The other thing is you've got different grades of coarseness. And so, are you feeling anything yet?
I am feeling a little
Are
more
you?
now. Yeah,
All right.
just a little bit.
Yes, you are.
Ha-ha.
Now that's brilliant. That's really good. I was actually wondering whether we might need to go to a coarser grit, but obviously you don't. Yeah, that's great. So the thing is now what you want to be able to make sure is that that is a consistent burr right the way along. Because, of course, if you've got a bit of a burr and not, and then a burr, you might still have an issue in the middle.
Yeah.
You want a nice consistent wire forming along the edge. Have you got that, do you think?
I think I'm close, but maybe a little bit more.
A little bit more, yeah.
All right, done. Just, and like, you really gotta feel that.
Yeah, and it comes, and then all of a sudden you just think, right, there it is.
Yeah.
So it's great. So what do you got?
I think that's better.
Yeah,
No.
excellent. Right, that's cool. So,
So this isn't something we can see, but there's a burr on the inside of that gouge.
yep.
And it's, how tall would that burr be if you had to guess?
We've got some pictures of it under a microscope and things like that. It's just, it looks like this incredibly fine wire, but it's you just feel it with the tip of your finger,
Sure.
so you know it's there.
Yeah. It's definitely evident there.
Right. So our next step is to remove that burr from the inside, and there's two schools of thought, and it's just my personal preference is not to have an internal bevel. So what I mean by that is we have a bevel on the outside. Some people like to put now a bevel on the inside. When they're removing that burr, they will angle that slightly and put an internal bevel on.
Okay.
Now the reason I'm not keen on that for my style of carving is I can illustrate it here, because if I set in a vertical cut and then I cut towards it, oops, sorry Ethan, and then I cut towards it, I want a very clean,
Mine.
you see I've got a nice clean line.
Yeah.
Sorry mate. There. I get a nice clean line on the surface. So let me just tidy that up for you, Ethan, and then get another shot. And this is actually a symptom of not having your work firmly fixed.
Right?
There you go.
Lovely.
So we've got a nice clean line on the surface. If we put a bevel on the inside of the line, that becomes slightly rounded and slightly pushed over. So for that reason I don't like, particularly, I'm not a fan of putting a bevel on the inside. So to remove the bevel, now this is a shaped diamond stone, or diamond file, but equally you can get shaped silicon carbide, ceramic, all different, Arkansas. And the key is to hold that on the inside edge, presumably, sorry, we'd have a little bit of a solution on it. Hold on the inside edge and then just remove the burr, but I'm making sure that it's flat on the inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, Jill, do you want to have a go at that?
Absolutely.
But be super careful now, because now you are pushing your finger towards a shot. So try and actually, maybe I illustrated that incorrectly. Try and keep your fingers away from that cutting edge.
Okay.
Make sure it's controlled also, because you don't want to be cutting your finger.
Absolutely. Okay. So this is flat against the back
Yes.
is what you want it, like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do they have to be, they don't have to be like big?
No, we're just removing that little fine burr of wire. And then you can test it, just run your finger down, can you feel it anymore?
A little bit still in some spots there.
And that's just the way I do it. You might, I mean, maybe if you turned it over, you might find an easier way of doing it. You know, you could actually put it against the table and
Gotcha.
you know.
So that's just
That was just my way of doing it. But so do you feel it's gone?
I think so. Is that, would you consider that gone, or is it
Yeah,
still
I've got
there?
there's a little lip on
the
that
corner,
outside edge.
yeah.
But having said that, our next process, because we're going to go back onto this power honer,
Okay.
and that will get rid of it anyway.
Okay.
So now, let's you have a go at that. So remember, it is a high-speed machine. If you touch these edges, it's going to hurt. So keep your fingers, loose clothing away, hairs tied back, safety glasses on. Remember, again, it must travel away from the tool. And obviously, you know, as we're turning it on, be mindful where your hands are. All right, so why don't we try that? So remember, that's it.
Anchor hands.
Yeah.
All right. Find that edge. Down below. There.
Yes. So you want to see compound coming up on the edge. Yeah, lovely. That's it, enough. And then just take a little thing off the inside the bevel edge. Lovely, done. Right, now see if you can feel a difference. This position.
This position, anchored down. Oh, wow.
Can you feel it?
Yes. I can.
Yeah. And isn't the cup more polished?
Very much so. Very much so.
So, in terms of sharpening, are you comfortable with that? Any questions? Do you reckon you could get a tool with a blemish to a razor finish?
Absolutely. I think that those learning how to use both of these things in a like properly is definitely beneficial. The angles and all of that. No, I think that's good.
All right.
I'm looking forward
Little
to it.
test. So what is the average angle of a carving tool bevel? Between
20 and 30 degrees.
Wow, 20 and 30 degrees. Why would you have a 30-degree angle?
For harder wood or things that would need to use like a lot of force, like if you're using a mallet, because it keeps your edge stronger.
Fantastic. Why wouldn't we put a bevel on the inside?
If you want to have like a nice clean edge on your work, then you don't put a bevel on the inside because then you'll round it over.
Top marks. Well done.
Yes.